Welcome back. So last week we went through the notice that we received from the HOA for violating rules. And since then, we've been waiting to see what happens next. What I didn't mention in that video is the HOA held an emergency meeting on the day after we posted that video. So they were already aware that they might be about to lose all their power over us when they sent us that notice. This will make sense as we go on, because it turns out their plan was to try and kick us off the lake before we ever started building anything on our property. This is also why we did not record the names of the people who came to our house on Tuesday. We had no idea who they were or why they were there. The only reason we even opened the door was because of the warrant. They showed us the warrant and told us that we needed to come out of the house with our hands up. Then they handcuffed my wife and kids and brought them to the living room. They kept telling us to calm down. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. But they wouldn't tell us why they were doing this. They kept saying they didn't want this to happen, but it had to. Now we know why they had to do this, but let me start at the beginning so you can understand how we got here. The first time that we met with the HOA president, we asked him if we would need to have a variance from the HOA in order to build a home on our lot. He said, "No, as long as your plans are within the guidelines of the plat, you shouldn't have any issues." We took him at his word and hired an engineer to design a home for us based on the plat restrictions. When the engineer presented us with the preliminary plans, we saw that there was a 300-foot setback from the lake, which left us with 28 feet between the engineered house and the lake. We knew that we wanted to be closer to the lake, and we also thought that 28 feet was too far away because of all the trees in that area. We emailed the HOA president with our concerns, and he told us to go ahead and submit the application, and we should be fine. Again, we took him at his word and submitted the application. A few weeks later, we got the approved plans back, and they showed a 100-foot setback from the lake, which put our house 42 feet from the water. I was elated. We called the president and told him we got the approval, and he said, "That's great. Let me know when you're ready to build, and we'll get the site plan recorded." We never had to record the site plan, because now they don't want us to build at all. Now keep in mind, the deed that we bought from the state of Wisconsin has clear language that says we have the right to build a home on this piece of property. In fact, that was the only thing we could do with the property. You can't camp on it, you can't farm on it, you can't lease it, you can't sell it. You can only do what we did, buy it and build a home on it. The piece of property was never meant to be left vacant. That's just not how the program works. It's called the Wisconsin Homes on Lake program. On Wednesday, while we were waiting for the lawyer to get back to us, the HOA president stopped by the house to tell us that he had a letter for us. I told him that we couldn't accept any legal documents from him because he wasn't a lawyer, and he insisted that we needed to sign for it. He refused to give us the letter until I promised to sign for it. He finally agreed to leave it on the porch and walk away. So he walked away, and I went and got the letter. It was a demand letter from a lawyer representing the HOA, telling us to vacate the premises within 15 days, or they will begin foreclosure proceedings against us. That was 17 days ago. This morning, the lawyer called us and said that she believes we should have the right to build on our property based on the plat restrictions and the deed that we have. She said that the HOA doesn't have the authority to kick us off the lake because this isn't a private lake. Anyone who buys a piece of property in this development has access to this lake. She also said that the eviction won't stand up in court because we have a deed, and if the HOA wants to kick us off, they have to take us to court and prove that we violated the terms of the deed. Good news, right? Well, kind of. She also said that the HOA could possibly force us to remove the structure within 15 days, meaning our house. What? How can they do that? I mean, I have a deed. Nobody can force me to remove my house. Well, the way that they can do that is by taking us to court and getting an order from the judge to tear down the house. And then, if we don't do it, they can send in a crew to tear down the house and put all the liens on our property. The problem that I have with all of this is that none of it should be happening. We did everything the right way. We followed all the directions that the HOA gave us. We paid all the fees. We submitted all the paperwork. We waited for approvals, and once we got them, we started to build. They've done nothing but stall us at every step of the way, and now they want to tear our house down. If they had just told us that we weren't allowed to build a house here in the first place, we would have sold the property. The problem is that nobody tells you this until you're almost done building your house. But the good news is that we're still standing. For now, we're going to wait to see what happens after the 15 days are up. The lawyer thinks that nothing will happen. I'm not so sure. They've made it pretty clear that they don't want us here. But we're prepared to fight it out in court. If it comes down to it, I think the judge will rule in our favor. But if the judge does, it will take months or even years to go through the process. And during that time, we'll have to live in a hotel. We've gotten quite a few comments in the last week asking if we're worried about retaliation from the HOA. Well, we were until we found out what these guys were really capable of. On Tuesday, they sent a truck with 3 burly men to our driveway to pick up our Jeep. They hooked up our Jeep to their truck and drove it to the sheriff's office. We had no say in where they took it, they just did it. Once they dropped it off at the station, we went to pick it up, and that's when we found out that they stripped the catalytic converter out of our Jeep. They left the inspection sticker on the ground near the front tire. My point is that these guys aren't afraid of anything. They will do whatever they feel like they have to do to get rid of us. So yeah, we're not really worried about them retaliating against us. I wish they would hurry up and take our Jeep, though. We need a vehicle to haul materials. Anyway, I'll keep you updated on what happens next. It might be a little while before the 15 days are up. We'll see. And if you're wondering why we didn't show the people who came to our house in the video on Tuesday, it's because we had no idea who they were. They scared my kids. My wife was crying. I was trying to figure out what was going on. The only thing that I knew for sure was that they said that they were serving us with a warrant. So I figured that whatever they said was true. Now we know that they lied about everything. They lied about who they were. They lied about why they were there, and they lied about what was in the warrant. The warrant didn't say to arrest us or seize our property. They just made that part up, so maybe they'll be less aggressive when they know that the cameras are on them. Maybe. Another channel, we talk about prepping for different types of situations. This channel, we talk about current events, how they affect preppers and what we can do about it. I'd like to invite you to join me on another platform. I stream live on another platform. If you're not able to watch the videos on this platform, I'll be posting the full video there. So come join me. Thank you to everybody who's supporting this channel. Your support helps keep the lights on and the cameras rolling, and thank you to everybody who watches these videos. If you haven't hit the bell notification, please go ahead and do that. That way you'll get notified whenever we post new videos. We're working on getting more videos out to you guys. All right, signing out. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. That's what it's for. It's not going anywhere.